Of what Ray Rice has done since his domestic violence incident. Harbaugh addressed the situation with reporters yesterday.
I hate what happened. You know, what happened was wrong, flat out. The thing I appreciate about it is how Ray has handled it afterwards by acknowledging that it was wrong, and he will do everything he can do to make it right. That's what you ask for when someone does a wrong thing. So I'm proud of him for that, from that standpoint.
Ray Rice, again, is scheduled to speak at a press conference today for the first time since the ruling of his 2-game suspension. The question that we're trying to broach today is, what specifically do we want to hear him say? For me, I would like for him to first apologize to his wife, because he didn't do that in the first press conference, and then maybe because he was nervous or he didn't know what was going on. I also want to know his reaction to the 2-game suspension and all the scuttlebutt that has followed and ensued after that. Skip, what would you like for him to say?
Well, you stole my thunder, because number one, I want to hear his first public apology to that wife who publicly apologized to him after the incident. And I also want to see and feel what we all will agree is genuine contrition on his part. And I don't know how it's going to translate through television, but that's what I want to see and feel from him. And he has been, previous to this incident, a force in his communities, both in Baltimore and back in New Rochelle, where he's from. He's had this initiative called Ray of Hope, anti-bullying, teen suicide prevention initiative. Great. Okay, I want to see a new initiative. I want to see him become a spokesman for enlightening, maybe teaching his fellow NFL players, maybe athletes in all sports, on the dangers of domestic violence, what he's learned and what he can convey to them. And I would also like him, he's going to lose about $529,000 in game checks, 3 game checks, 2-game suspension. I'd like to see him match that amount of money and donate it to victims of domestic abuse or domestic abuse causes, battered women's causes. I'd like to see him put his money where his mouth is also. Will we hear and see all that? I have no idea, but that's, from me, what I would personally like to hear and see.
I agree with a lot of things you just said, with both of you just said. Obviously, first of all, it starts with his wife. But I do know this, hopefully he goes there without a written statement.
Yeah.
I don't want a written statement. I want him to look at those people in that audience, the media, and speak from his heart. Because I do believe Ray Rice has a good heart. He made a terrible, terrible mistake, no doubt, and it can't be tolerated. Abusing women cannot be tolerated, and the suspension is what it is. We can sit here and we can debate it all we want, but the league found that this is what we want to do. The organizations backed the league. They decided that's fine enough, and now we got to move forward. But it's on Ray Rice now. It's on him going forward, and I think he'll handle it in a way where he will speak from his heart. And that's all we can ask of this guy right now. I mean, we can't ask anything more. The damage has been done. He's going to have to live with this the rest of his life. It's a hard thing to live with, too, trust me. When you're talking about abusing women, this is a thing that in our country that sometimes it gets overlooked. And now it's to the forefront, and it should be to the forefront. And I think the discussions that we've had here in our communities enlighten us and gives us more information to do something about it, because it's something that cannot happen and shouldn't happen in our community.
Before you go, if he has a prepared statement, what does that mean to you?
Well, that means that obviously it's probably been looked over by the people in the organization, and I don't want that. You don't have to. This is a heart matter for me, just me personally. You know, this is from the heart. This has nothing to do with what you're right. You can say a bunch of things. How do you really feel? And he's probably feeling low as low right now.
Yeah.
And you know, and he goes to football practice and he's okay. But every night he lays down, he's probably feeling, you know what, I really did something that's really bad, and I've got to pay the consequences are on me now, and I got to justify this in my own heart. And I think if he speaks that way, people will look at him and go, okay.
Yeah, the first press conference where he issued the apology was maybe one of the worst orchestrated statements I've ever seen. I mean, the
Which
fact
is why,
that
by the way, John Harbaugh made the point yesterday, he's not a polished speaker.
Right, but even John Harbaugh,
matter.
his first comments seemed very insensitive. It was after practice.
Yep, I agree.
He kind of was a little bit flippant about it. I mean, the way the Ravens and Ray Rice handled this was a disaster. I think the only thing to add, really, because I think they're all exceptional ideas. I would love to see him make a big donation to help victims of domestic violence. I would love to see him, that becomes his cause, his charitable, his reason for being a professional athlete, to have that go there. But really, the only thing that's going to heal this is time, the more time that he has to prove what type of man he is, because he's saying, all his teammates are saying, his coaches are saying, hey, he's a good guy, his character is there, this is a one-time thing. I think it's going to be a spotless track record from here on out. You say you're this man, treat your wife that way with respect, come out with comments for her as soon as he makes this statement, and then live it. Go out there and be that man that you're saying you are. Go out there and treat women with the respect they deserve.
Do you think he's aware of how people feel about his first press conference, the reaction to it? And
sure. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be well watched. Trust me.
Do you think, as a woman, will it be enough? All these things, if he did all these, will it be enough, or is it?
I think that's just on the road to recovery. There's more that needs to be done. Obviously, his wife has clearly forgiven him, but that doesn't mean that the world doesn't want to see him make a statement, a bigger statement. I think the scuttlebutt, especially with the NFL, they missed an opportunity.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, missed an opportunity to teach a life lesson. This is as I said, and I don't want to just keep beating it up and keep talking about the same thing.
Sure.
But they dropped the ball here.
Right.
Okay.
Literally.
A lot of things in life boil down to this: common sense. To me, it wasn't that difficult. This is a common sense situation. It's a terrible situation. All right. Domestic abuse is terrible, and you have a chance to send a life lesson to teach to not just football players, just males in general. You don't put your hands on women, period.
You know what I think Roger Goodell needs to do, because I think he did drop the ball on this one, and I don't think he's going to go back on it. He's not going to say, I'm going to add two, because he won't. But I think the NFL needs to look at having a policy across the league that is a zero-tolerance policy that says either you get a full year. I mean, but what is the right? Is it half a year? What is it? But they need to come up with something that makes a strong statement moving forward that we cannot tolerate this sort of action.
Okay, just for the record, the day this story broke, we were live on this show, and I immediately said that punishment is shockingly light. The following day, after we had the night to absorb it, I don't know if you will remember this, but I got up on my soapbox and I said this should have been at least 8 games, that clearly our commissioner of this league missed a great opportunity to send a huge message. Now, here's the problem. And this is why I think the Ravens have been flippant and insensitive all along, maybe not today, but in the past, and why those fans of the Ravens cheered Ray Rice when he set foot on their training camp practice field the other day. It's because I think our legal system first dropped the ball. Do you realize?
Yes.
Do you realize?
I agree.
That's why I say it's a life lesson.
Yes.
Hey, did he not skate from our legal system?
Yep.
He got anger management for this, period, end of story?
No doubt.
It happens
Really?
every day.
Anger management?
No doubt.
Okay, so then the commissioner followed our legal system and said, well, I guess I just should do 2 games. Okay.
That's why it's bigger than that.
I know.
Yes.
But I'm being cold-blooded reality here.
No, that's right.
The Ravens are under no real obligation, no legal or league obligation to do anything. They could say he's not going to talk about this. There's also a right thing to do here, and today is the right thing opportunity.
Your moral compass. What is your moral compass? Okay? That's the bottom line. And you can sit there and you can say, well, society looking. No. What is your moral compass as a man?
Okay.
When you have the obligation to sit in a leadership position and say, you know what, this is wrong, and I'm going to do something about it.
Right, you point out the legal system, a bigger indictment on our society, how they just dropped the ball. And you say moral compass. Well said, gentlemen. Thank you. Let's leave